Hello everybody, I'm Riley and welcome to another episode of Virtual MOSI. Today we are going to be going over physics that we find on the playground. But first, let's talk about our question from last episode. Question was, do bees defy the laws of physics when they fly? Answer is no, they do not. It is a common misconception that they do because their wings are so small in proportion to their kind of fat bodies, but they actually use their wings in a very special way. It's different from the way that planes fly, different from the way that birds fly. They actually rapidly beat their wings and form little tornadoes underneath their bodies that give them lift. So, with that being said, let's move over to the park. At the park, we interact with a lot of forces that we might not even think about when we're just playing, swinging on the swings, sliding down the slide. We're not thinking about the forces at work that are making our bodies move or even stopping our bodies from moving. So let's take a look at a couple of my favorite staples at the park, the swings and the slide. But first, let's go over a couple of our keywords for today. First word is going to be force, which is just any energy associated with movement. This includes the next two words I have, friction, which is the resistance of an object that it encounters when moving across another object, and gravity, which is the pull of any object towards another object. Here on Earth, we have a lot of gravity pulling us down towards the surface of the Earth. So let's move over to a little swing that I've created for us here. I'm going to be demonstrating the types of forces that we interact with that stop our body from moving when we are on the swing. So here I have my whole little swing set, my little swing right here, and as we can see, when we just pull back, it'll swing like normally. It'll have an easy time. But I want you to think about how you actually get onto the swing and start it from moving. So you'll sit down on it, you'll probably walk it back with your feet, and you'll release and make it swing. What you're doing when you're walking up with your swing and then releasing is first building up the potential energy that you and your swing have, and when you release, you're allowing for kinetic energy to take place. Kinetic energy is simply any energy that an object has when it's moving. So, again, I want to give you a little demonstration. Normal swinging right there. So the forces at play stopping us from being able to swing infinitely as high and as fast as we want to are air resistance. So there's air here, there's air here. When we're going, the air is slowing us down ever so slightly. And we also have gravity, which is pulling you in the swing down towards the ground. So let me apply friction from our air by putting some air on our board. Obviously, we're interacting with air all the time. So long as we are on Earth, it's around us. It's causing a slight bit of friction, but let me amp up the amount of friction that we're experiencing by placing some extra big air molecules down on our board here. So here I'm just taping down some pieces of paper that I already have cut out. So if you want to do this along at home, all of the materials here are very easy to find. I just have some cardboard, some paper, a wooden dowel. If you're interested, leave us a comment and we can do another video on it. So when I'm pulling back here, we can already see that there's some friction between these pieces of paper representing our air molecules and the swing itself. So when I release, it'll stop it a little bit. It'll still go a bit, but it has a harder time moving through the space because there's air there. Let's add another force, gravity. Right here, I just have a rubber band that's going to be pulling the swing down towards the earth. So I'm just going to tie that around here. There we go. Want to center it so it doesn't throw it off balance too much. Let's see how it swings now. All right, maybe a little less elasticity, okay? It's pulling it down to the ground. So do you remember how fast it was swinging when there were none of these other forces? But here we have air stopping us. Here we have gravity pulling our swing down to the ground. These are the forces that you're encountering when you're on the swings, when you're at the park. So moving on from our swings here, let me take you over to our slide. So, of course, I didn't bring a full slide in with me today, but I did bring some of the materials that we would find on the slides in our parks. So you can follow along with this at home with just a few simple materials. Here I have some DVD cases. So right here I have a metal one, which we will often find used for the material in our slides. I also have a plastic one, also a really common one. So if you come in a little closer with me, I just want you to notice, here, my little fingers here are a person, my DVD case here is the slide. If you can see, I'm meeting a lot of resistance when I'm just trying to slide my finger gently down the DVD case here. Same on the metal. I have a little bit of an easier time, but it's still a bit of a struggle. But we're very rarely sliding down slides like this with just our skin. We have something in between us, usually pants. So I have a little strip of cloth here. You can use any type of cloth you want. Right here I have some muslin, but if you can see, I'm having a much easier time sliding my hand down. I'm meeting far less resistance. The same thing applies when we are on a water slide as opposed to a dry slide that we would find at a park. So I'm just dipping my finger in some water here, getting a little wet, and I'm meeting hardly any resistance at all. That's why if you've been on a water slide, you'll notice that you can go a lot faster on that than on any slide you'll find at a park. So by incorporating the cloth I have here or the water, you're limiting the amount of friction that you find when you're trying to slide down the slide. So follow along with this at home. If you want to get a closer look at what's going on, the materials are very easy to come across. All you need is a DVD case, maybe some water, maybe some cloth. So that will allow us to limit the amount of friction. That will allow us to go a little bit faster, slide a little bit quicker, maybe swing on the swings a little bit better if you can find a workaround for the friction caused by the air or the pull of gravity if you're ever given the opportunity to swing on a swing in space. So with all that being said, I would like for you guys to accept this challenge I have for you, which is to go to your local park or think about a time that you've been to your local park where you are also finding these forces applied to your body. How is it impacting you? Leave us a comment in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you. So those are the types of forces that we encounter at any park that we go to. And that's our lesson for today. I have a question for you for our next episode. It is, what is the distance from King Henry's nose to the end of his thumb called? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for joining us.